I don't think I do it.
But Arsenal started like a house on fire. Signing number 2 for this new era. It's Judgment Day, people. Yeah! What did your boy tell you? It was never in doubt. Never in doubt. Don't believe in any luck, I believe I'm self-made, yeah.
Now then, people, and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show and another episode of The Final Word, brought to you at 7 o'clock tonight. I know we normally go at 8 o'clock, but of course there's some Premier League games tonight, and hopefully, I'm praying anyway, that both Wolves and Everton get beat tonight by Arsenal and Liverpool. So I want to watch them. So that's why we're going at 7. Yes, as you'll see, we don't have a full house tonight. Joe is training, Chris is working, and also Rocco. I don't know where Rocco is. He was in Spain promoting his latest book, but I don't know where he is now. I haven't heard from him. Maybe he's having to take the wife out because he's been away. I don't know, something like that. And we've got Luke returning tonight as well. Luke, how are you, mate? Are you tired? I know you were at the game yesterday.
Absolutely knackered, mate. 1 o'clock I walked through the door this morning. I'm retiring, I think, from midweeks. I'm too old.
Yeah. I seen you were asking how many miles. I didn't actually guess. I read it while I was on lunch or break at work. But how many miles have you clocked up, just out of interest?
5,252.8.
Wow.
I'm not sure what that's like in terms of like flying to Australia or whatever. But it's a fucking bloody lot. So
halfway there, I think.
Listen, that's dedication. Big up to Luke for doing that, mate. 'Cause I know it costs a hell of a lot of money. It's a lot of time, and when you consider we've only won like 6 games, including the cup, maybe 7.
I've only seen us win 3 in those as well. And that's only the tip of the iceberg. You know, you got people coming from Ireland and bloody Scandinavia and all sorts. So
even coming from Sunderland, mate, when we were losing games, like it's rough driving back. So I get it, man. I get it. Oh wow, under Jesse Ball as well, it'd have been brutal. We've got Kate returning as well. Kate, how are you? Welcome back.
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm good. I really enjoyed yesterday, and I can't wait to get into it tonight.
Yeah, good. And listen, while we're just discussing Kate's around about 50 people away from 1,000 subscribers, okay? The links to all the channels are in the description. There's 235 currently watching now, so I know for a fact there'll be 55 of them people that aren't subscribed to Kate at Leeds Birds Rants. So go to the description and make sure you subscribe. And while we're on that as well, Max, you have achieved the 5,000 subscriber mark. Big shout out.
Yes, finally.
I think I was one of those, Max, to be honest.
Oh, thank you very much.
So I hope you've returned the favour, Max.
Yeah, exactly.
I have actually, yeah.
And just while we're all patting each other on the back and stuff, Luke's going to be live at 8:30 tonight on Ought to Know Better podcast. Their YouTube is also in the description to this video. So after this one's finished, make sure you're going over there. It's scheduled now. Go smash a like on it before it even starts. And make sure you watch that Leeds United content after this. So let's get straight into it then. You'll have all heard my post-match, the majority of you anyway, that watch me regularly. I was pretty positive. I was quite surprised at the negative reaction during the watch-along because Leeds United did lose. Yes, we are out of the FA Cup. But in terms of performance, I thought Leeds were actually really good. And on another day, Polinia, 9 times out of 10, doesn't score that goal for me, that first goal. Solomon is in good form, but look, 9 times out of 10, the goal that we scored doesn't get disallowed either. And if we go 1-0 up, I believe it's a different game. But Luke, you were at the game. How did it come across in the ground? Was it decent?
Yeah, relatively similar to how you've sort of dissected it there. To be honest with you, Joe, it felt like we. I mean, I've seen the stats afterwards. It felt like a very even game, end to end, a good cup tie for me. But it almost felt like we had far more better chances than them. And yeah, the feeling from the crowd and the Leeds, and certainly was that we probably deserved something out of that game. And at the very least, I mean, like as you say, the both of their goals, absolute stunners. You know, they scored those sort of 99 times out of 100, and we had some much easier chances. I felt had the disallowed goal. So yeah, it was a positive away in last night. It was even when we were beat. I think I think we felt we'd been beaten by, by a puncher's chance, shall we say?
Yeah, and do you know what as well, Max? Just on that, I mean, people again that maybe don't watch the rest of the Premier League, and I understand it, will say it's Fulham, the newly promoted team. But when you actually look at it, Fulham are 6th in the Premier League. They've only lost twice at Craven Cottage, and I think they're now undefeated in 7 games after beating us. So they're a good side, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, they've got a lot of good technical players. Some of the signings have been really savvy, like bringing Palhinha in. He's been unbelievable this season. And sometimes that can be the difference, just having somebody who can technically is so good that you can just ping a ball into the top corner from a chance like that. And they've done really well this season to take advantage of their chances. They're outperforming their XG massively. And they're basically the opposite of us. They've created a lot of they don't create a lot of chances, but when they do, they score. We create a lot of chances and we don't score. So even though we've actually scored quite a few goals this season, for compared to last season, even it's probably about similar. But we could have scored a lot more given the chances that we've had, and we're just not clinical enough. But yeah, they've got a lot of good technical players in there who, like we saw, Palhinha was able to just take the ball, bang. Top corner, and then Solomon did it as well, cutting in from the left-hand side and just putting it in the top corner. So sometimes you've just got to say, like, we limited them to very little in terms of their only chances. I keep saying this, but they're not even chances, those really. Like,
they're not.
Where you would say we've given them a chance. It's more like they've just taken unbelievable shots and scored. But overall, we actually defended well and we kept their chances to a minimum. We kept them out of the box. The only time that Mitrovic got free, he was offside anyway. So who's to say he would have actually got there if he was onside? So yeah, I think there's positives to take in how solid we lost 2-0, but when you actually watch the game, it's not a 2-0 game. Like Luke was saying, that people in the crowd have still been positive because they can see how we've just been defeated by 2 absolute screamers. But we did play actually well at times in our attack. It's just that final finish, which I'm sure we'll get onto a little bit more. But just in general.
Good performance, wasn't it, Kate? At the end of the day, we did everything but score. I felt it was a really good.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I mean, even, Rasmus, I was a little bit sort of wary of it at the back to start with, but he defended pretty well. His passing was a bit dodgy. But I think that's sort of a general sort of thing that went on last night. I mean, midfield passing was sort of left wanting. And of course the finishing, and the offsides. I mean, I think do we have 3 offsides last night? Was it 2 or 3?
Yeah, there would have been a few. I think Bamford spent more time offside than he did on it when he came on. To be fair, it wasn't a great sub, really. I understand why he made it, but I don't know about you.
Make it, Joe? Why did he make it?
I don't know. Listen, I'm a big Bamford fan, Kate, but I was speaking to a few friends today, and I don't know if I'm going early, but would you advocate starting Rutter at the weekend over Bamford? Do you think?
I would, personally speaking, after last night. I thought, he showed what he's going to be capable of. I mean, he's not the finished article by any stretch of the imagination, but he was involved. He was very involved. I really enjoyed watching him last night. So I would start him on Saturday.
Yeah, I think he had a really good spell either side of half time for about 10 minutes before half time and about 20 minutes afterwards. Before half time, he had that header, which was actually a really difficult chance because it was going behind him and he got back, leaned forward and managed to loop it over the keeper, generating his own power. So that's technically actually quite an impressive
Such a difficult skill, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah. And then in the second half, as soon as it started, I was like, ooh, Rutter's up for this in the second half. Yeah. He was creating chances for himself. He was having shots, just going wide and then trying to create space for himself. And I think he did really well. But I think there's a case for them both to be played against Chelsea, especially if they're playing 3 at the back. You kind of need 2 strikers to occupy their centre-backs. And it seems like we will be going for more of either 2 up front or 1 just in behind who supports the attack. So you could see both of them play, which I would say is not the worst thing to do, because obviously Bamford's had his issues with his finishing, but he's always seems to be okay at actually holding the ball up, and Rutter seems to have a bit of a turn of pace. So maybe they could work together. But yeah, I think certainly 2 up top, and I would have Rutter in there.
I just want to pick up on a few comments that have come in about this, Fulham making 7 changes. Let's not forget these changes. I mean, for me, I haven't watched a lot of Fulham, but they were almost at full strength. Pellegrini comes in. He's suspended in the league. He would be in their first 11 all the time. Mitrovic back from injury. Solomon is another change, but he'd scored 3 goals on the spin off the bench. So it was always due a start, and it will probably start at the weekend. So let's not pretend that, this was, their kids. Fulham had a very good side out, and we made changes ourselves, like Kate touched on.
Made about 4 changes.
Exactly. Rasmus was playing at centre-back. We had, there were changes.
Never again.
Yeah.
The thing is with Rasmus, defensively he was okay, and he was able to win. He won headers. He got that block in where he slid across, and it sort of hit his shirt number when he slid across and blocked it.
Yeah, it was a great block, by the way.
Yeah, he did some good things in that sense. But I can tell what you mean, Luke, because when he gets the ball, you think, okay, just find Ayling's feet, just find some. Kate mentioned some of his passing. He would just put it into midfield, and you'd think, who's that to? It's just they've just been able to run straight in front of our player and get the ball, and it's like you can't be like you can defend really well, but if you're going to keep giving the ball away like that, you're going to have to do so much more defending. And so it was like I honestly said in my stream, I said it's like he doesn't know, like his technique's all wrong. It's like he doesn't know how to kick a football. It's like he's swinging a golf club at a football.
How it felt last night, Max, for me, it felt like he was just trying too hard. He was trying the difficult pass rather than the simple pass, and it just felt like he was inviting pressure on us when we wanted to soak that pressure up and sort of go on the counter. Really, it felt every time the ball was at his feet, we were. You felt sort of the air. Everybody took a deep breath in the stand, and whilst he did defend well. He's not a natural centre back, but I think he's probably arguably better than Ayling in there, and vice versa. If you were to have to play the 2 again, you'd certainly play them that way around.
I remember when the lineup came out, and I shared the sofa score graphic, and everyone was going, Rasmus in centre back. I was going, they've clearly got it wrong. Don't worry, Ayling's going to go in there, and then
I called it.
Went, oh, did you? There you go.
When I saw the lineup, I went. Well, I'll take partial credit. I said, what if it's Rasmus at centre-back? I could see the case for it probably being a little bit stronger defensively, and it was more out of fear of seeing Ayling at centre-back, because I think we've really struggled when he's been there. But I said, it could be Rasmus there testing him out, because defensively, that's probably his strongest thing, but with the ball, he's back. He's like a defender from like the 80s, where his job is literally win the ball and get rid of it. He's winning the ball and he's trying to find feet, and he can't do it. It's odd and frustrating.
Yeah, a lot's been said about the passing, and I want to pick up on that now, because I think I took a bit of unnecessary flack in the comments on the last final word we did when I touched on McKennie's passing, and everyone was going, well, he got 91% pass accuracy, etc., highest it's been and stuff. But like's been said a lot, I'm not having a right go here, but say, for example, me and Kate could pass the ball 5 yards between each other if we were stand straight across. No, it's true though, right? But what I will say, when McKennie's tasked with maybe moving it on further up the field, and I don't think it's just him, and I want to more focus on Adams really, Luke, because I don't know what it looked like in the ground, but for me I'd go as far as to say it was probably Adams' poorest performance this season, because he has been that good.
No, I'd agree, and I think the problem we had yesterday was with the midfield 3 was Rucker was the only one playing progressively, even though McKennie was playing a little bit more forward and a little bit more advanced. It almost felt like he was playing with his back to goal. So every time he got the ball at his feet, he didn't look the right way. He was almost looking for the layoff, and I just felt we were forcing the passes too much. There was often times when they could have took a touch and turned, but they were just playing the one touch, ticky taka, tippy tappy, whatever you want to call it, and the layoff stuff to make it look good. When sometimes it just needed something to lift the head up, and I'm probably going to eat a bit of humble pie here and say, but when Aronson came on, he did that and he drove us forward, and we looked much better.
I think McKennie's a weird one, because He's actually, his best moments have been when he's linking up play in the final third. But it's the issue that we have with him is his general passing is okay. Okay, we can sort of accept that he's not the best at spreading the ball out and pinging the ball out to the wings, which is what we had Rocker for, who did that good.
I don't even think it's that, Max. I think it's that final pass.
Yeah,
it's
that's
two
exactly
games
what I was going
now.
to say. Yeah,
sorry.
It's his final ball. His link-up play is good until he gets to that final pass. Then he's driving through, and Somerville's in front of him. He's either got a chance to shoot or pass it into Somerville, and he passes it too hard past Somerville, and you think it's exactly the same as what happened with Aronson on Saturday against Southampton. He broke the line. He did really well. He was sharp. He pressed. He won the ball back, and he passed it behind Aronson. But it wasn't just him. There was a few others where you see people running through on goal, and the ball's just too far in front of them. Rutter played a nice ball into Nonto, but Nonto was a bit wide for his shot on his left foot. But that's the only time where we've played a through ball and it's actually gone to the player. It's so frustrating to see us just pass past them. And people were talking about, weren't they? We brought it up on the last final word, that 91% pass completion. Yeah. And we talked about on that when you actually looked at the pass map, it was short distance passes, which is fine. And if he can accept that that's not his forte, getting it forward with long raking balls, that's fine. But if he's going to be in those attacking positions and he's got men beyond him, he's got to find them with the pass. Like, you can't pass up on those opportunities against a Premier League team. No. So that's the only thing that really I want McKennie to improve on. But like you say, I think Adams, it was his worst game so far in a Leeds shirt.
Yeah, and I think you're right on the McKennie one, because against Fulham and against Southampton, we had more chances. But away at Stamford Bridge, that one moment might be the only moment we have. And that's the time when we really need to take them opportunities.
And that's like Fulham. They
exactly.
They didn't really get any chances against us. They didn't really manage to create anything, but because they took their chances, they won the game. And that's football. Like, you can play as well as you like, but if you don't put the ball in the back of the net, you're not going to win games. And like you say, against Chelsea, it's more important against these top sides that if we do get chances, we've got to finish them. And the amount of times we dragged it past the post, Adams' volley, Aronson's volley, it always just seems to be dragging away from goal. And it's frustrating, and we need to start taking those chances. But
what about the chances? What about the chances in the box that we don't take? I mean, I've noticed there's a tendency to pass too many times in the box. Do you know what I mean? When they could actually take a shot, but they choose to pass it instead. Whereas like Fulham, for example, don't do that, do they? They just take the chance and is that a confidence thing or?
Yeah, I mean, there was one moment in the second half where it dropped to Koch, it dropped to McKennie, it dropped to every single player, and not one person would just like put it in. I genuinely think it's like a golfer, right? Everything tee to green was great, but then you get on the green and you just go to shit. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it felt like. Even like the McKennie one, what you touched on the edge of the box, he's got Polinia sliding in. He drops his shoulder, and it's like, wow, you've opened up that space to just roll it into Somerville, and he just smashes it. I'm like, what are you doing?
I almost think that's not really an excuse for him, because he's just come from Juventus and hasn't really had Marsh ball. But I do think there's a little bit of the DNA left over from Marsh ball, where, like Kate says, they overplay in the box. They try to ping too many passes. And the other thing is that they panic a little bit when they're in forward positions. And even when we're trying to break out on a counter-attack, I think there's a little bit left of that, where for the first goal, Adams trying to play out from the back. He's trying to ping it into Rocker so that Rocker can then set him and they go forward or whatever, these passing patterns that Marsh wanted them to do. But he's like, it was a stupid decision to make that pass, and it's almost like he's rushed it, he's panicked, he's thought, oh my god, this counter-attack's over if I don't pass it within the next 0.1 seconds. And he's done it. And then also, I know people have said as well that Rocker's not entirely blameless for that, because he should have put a foot in. But
I disagree, me.
Someone's running at him. He didn't even notice. Well, he probably should have known that someone was coming, but I don't think he saw him, and he's just gone already. And it's like, how can he put a pardon my French, I don't. Whatever. How can he put a foot in? Is what I meant to say. When somebody's already take the ball off him.
I get it.
Lost my head there.
Ironically, when Kate, you just mentioned that about trying to take too many touches in the box. When we were watching them warm up before kickoff, they were working on. It looked like taking as little amount of touches as possible and hitting it. And the amount of, honestly, the keeper didn't make one save. I don't think. I think it was Robles warming up with them, and it was McKennie, Adams, Somerville, Nonto, and a couple of others that were warming up doing this type of drill. Harrison, I think, and a couple of us, and they were smashing it, and everyone was flying in the top corner. And then it comes to game, and I completely agree. I think it is a lack of confidence. It's like so difficult when you're playing when you're playing sport. It's so difficult to get out of a routine of losing and not winning and not hitting the back of the net. That you it almost becomes natural and alien to actually score it and actually take a shot from outside the box.
Yeah. How'd you get out of that though? How'd you get out of that cycle?
Well, the thing is as well, it's about belief as well, though, isn't it? And when Palhinha took that shot, you can best believe that somebody like Mitrovic was following up, getting ready. And sometimes we don't have that. Like when we do take a shot from the edge of the box, everyone's like, well, let's see if this one goes in. Whereas in other teams, you see somebody take a shot from the edge of the box and they're like, this is probably going to get saved. So I'm going to go and get in an area where it might get spilled out to.
And we got that from Rutter, though. We did get that from Rutter when he made it 1-0. And that just on that goal, by the way, how that's been chalked off is beyond me, man. Brutal. That the referee was garbage yesterday, I felt.
You can see that there's a bit of a push there, but you can also see Harry Wilson do a bloody ballerina pirouette and fall to the floor. And you're like, well, he's obviously overacting there.
Yeah, it was brutal.
They got away with the second. I think it was it the second Fulham? Was it Solomon scored the second one? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so in the lead up to that, the ball got crossed over from the right, and if you watch Mitrovic actually pushes. I think it's Ayling or Christensen in the back. But because players allowed to play on into the next phase, because the ball then comes back in from Solomon, they score. But that is if you, I don't know if you watch the highlights back, you can see Mitrovic. He's doing it's the exact same motion, pretty much.
Yeah, it was brutal. I mean, Wilson made a real meal of it. Just while we're talking on Rutter as well, there's a few comments like Jamie says Rutter's ball to Nonto for the 1-on-1 was a great pass, and I agree. If you're looking at a perfectly weighted pass compared to what we've seen, that was one.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned. That's the only one that was a through ball that actually went to the person.
Yeah, exactly. And Wayne May says you do need your share of luck, and Rutter hit the post. And I just wanted to have a chat about Rutter because I was one of them. And people, you can't be critical without people saying that you're writing a player off. But I did question if it was worth what we were paid, and we need ready-made, all that sort of stuff, because we're in a relegation dogfight, etc. But I touched on it earlier, Kate, about him potentially starting, but I thought he was really, really impressive yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, so did I. I mean, he was exciting to watch. He took chances. Do you know what I mean? He showed the sort of quality in the box that we need. And he was really, really unlucky. I think, wasn't it Nonto put a pass through to him as well, and it just was it Nonto. It sort of was a little bit too long, went over the line. And, he played really, really well and exciting, to watch.
Yeah, definitely. He's really got that turn of pace, hasn't he, Luke? Do you know what I mean? When we were playing with that 4-3-3, and I seen there was a few times where balls were looking to get through, and I think he's someone that if we're going to go up against a team that's going to play a high line, for example, he's someone that you start over Bamford, because that's one thing with Bamford. It is a bit deceptive with Bamford. I do think he covers ground pretty well, but he's still, in comparison to Rutter, looks a bit like he's running in treacle.
Yeah, I think Bamford's got a high top end, and it's just getting up to that speed. But Rutter looks really really lightning off the mark. So we've got quite an exciting attacking line, and I think once it does click, I think we'll scare a few teams. I just think for me, I mean, you look at the quality and the pace we've got, and some of the attacking options. I think there's. Arguably, we should be scoring a lot more goals, regardless. But once we do start scoring, I see a real outpouring of goals and coming from all areas as well. But I completely agree. Ari Rutter, I think he will be worth everything we paid for him and some. We've only just started to see the tip of the iceberg with him. I think there's clearly a quality player in there with lots to come.
Yeah,
he hadn't played a competitive game, had he? But since
No.
before the World Cup, so
No, that's fair.
There's that, and also when you're talking about his pace, it's not just his pace; it's his strength as well. We see somebody like Brendan Aronson, who's really quick off the mark, and you saw against Southampton there was a moment where he won the ball back, he skinned about 3 players, he ran all the way down the touchline, and a Southampton player just went like that and eased him off the ball and got it back, and you think, well, what's that all that for then? But Rutter, from all the stuff I've seen from him at Hoffenheim as well, once he's got the ball, it's pretty hard to get it off him if he's running away from you, because he's physical, he's got that wide set weird
running style as well, any match, you know what I mean, that makes it hard for him to.
Yeah, and I think he's physical, he gets his body in the way, and once you're behind him and the ball, there probably is no catching him.
No, and just you touched on Aronson there. I think again he's someone that I did give heavy criticism towards the end of Jesse's tenure. He was coming off the pitch and he was playing full 90 minutes under Jesse. He was being beasted and not having great games, and then obviously he dropped him, and then when he was coming on the pitch he was looking ineffective, and I did worry with Aronson that maybe he was, I guess, more suited to that Red Bull style, you know, but actually seeing him now with space with which to play in, for me, again, when he came on the pitch, of all the subs yesterday, he was the most impressive. I know you touched on the lineup, Max, at the weekend, but for me, and I don't know if you agree, Kate, you can't drop Aronson at the minute. I think he has to go straight back into that starting lineup against Chelsea for me.
Yeah, for me too. I mean, I know what you mean. The thing about him, he's not very big physically, is he? And he's sort of, you know, when he comes up against sort of players that are sort of twice his size, that's when he sort of runs into trouble. But he did come in yesterday, and you know he's good in space, isn't he? He's good when you're playing with more width, and you know, pass the ball effectively. And yeah, I mean, would you start him on Saturday? Or
I think I would, yeah, definitely. I think, I don't know if the lads agree. I think you almost keep the same 11. And I think, to be honest, he will do that. I don't think he'll even start Rocker. I think he might be, he'll want to keep the double pivot and maybe not attack as much.
I think Aronson has to play, but we saw against Fulham that he was also effective when brought off the bench. So it could be that we see him from the start, or it could be that he comes on a little bit later on. But either way, at the moment, Gracia is showing that he can make substitutes that actually make a difference in games. And when Aronson came on, and he's a sort of a different mold of player to what Nonto is, or to what Somerville is, and then he was able to actually create things and stretch the Fulham back four. So I think it's positive, even if he doesn't start, that he might come on and change the game a little bit, because you've got to think, even though Thiago Silva, is he fit at the moment?
No, he's done now, mate. He's done.
Some of their defenders aren't the fastest anyway. And Aronson's a sort of nippy player who could nip past one. And I mean, Koulibaly got sent off in the game earlier in the season, didn't he? Because Aronson was annoying him so much.
Just going to say that. It was his best game. I think one of his best games for Aronson was Chelsea at home. And I feel he excels in games where it's a bit quicker and we haven't got as much time, and he understands he can't carry it as much, so he knows he's got to release it that bit sooner. You know, the games he's played well is with the games that he's played against are the sort of top 6 or 7 sides in the league. So I think you're probably right. I think we probably do see him start. But yeah, Max, spot on. I think he's a good impact player to have as well. So it's one of those. Do you wait for the impact, or do you see what impact he's got from the start and potentially risk him getting out muscled a lot? So
it's just nice to actually have options, isn't it, on the bench?
Absolutely.
When we look at last season, and we had kids on the bench. We had 16, 17 and 18-year-olds, and then Adam Forshaw in that game against Arsenal. I think it was Forshaw or Click on the bench, one of them. We only had one senior player, and everybody else was kids. And it's nice now to be able to say, okay, we're going to bring Rutter and Aronson off the bench, combined price of like 60 million quid that we can bring off the bench. And that's what we always complained about in previous seasons. It's like, these can just bring 50 million quid off the bench and beat us. But we have actually got the sort of players that you can actually come on and affect a game now. But it's time that they started actually scoring goals and winning games, because we can't go on being so so unclinical in front of goal.
No, I agree.
What is the reason for that? I mean, the amount of chances we created yesterday, wasn't it? It was like 60. Well, 16 compared to Fulham 7, and you know it's ridiculous. It's the fact that we just cannot score. There was like five players in the box in the second half, and we still couldn't score. Do you know what I mean? I mean,
it summed it up, didn't it, when it hit McKennie's leg and just rolled past the post agonizingly, and we all just like, oh, how the hell has that not gone in?
I know.
That's when you knew it wasn't going to happen, I think. But
yeah, I think I do think if the goal stands yesterday, we fine, and we do maybe score more. And I think, you know, like Luke was saying earlier, it's just about we've won a game now. They know they can win a game of football, so that's a positive after beating Southampton. Because if we wouldn't have won that, then you're thinking, oh God, you know what I mean. But there's confidence now they can win a game of football. We just need to get one or two, and I think we'll be right. I think we're going to be all right anyway. I think for me, Marco Silva. Not Marco Silva.
Thiago.
No, not even. Gracia, Javi Gracia, not Marco Silva. Javi Gracia. He'll keep us up. I do believe that, and we've seen massive improvements under Javi Gracia in just 2 games. A lot of fans on social media and stuff sort of came for me when I was saying I was positive, etc. But I just wanted to share a graphic that was put out earlier on, just to, I guess, ram home that point that Leeds United are improving under Javi Gracia. And in the 2 games so far under Gracia, these are the amount of shots that we've faced. So 15 shots in total. But if you have a look, it's actually 0.04 XG per shot on average. Which obviously excluding the 2 goals that they've scored, but even when you look at the goals that have been scored, they're worldies. They're from way out, and like we said earlier, 9 times out of 10 they don't go in. I think the 2 games as well are amongst the lowest XG we've conceded all season as well. So we are seeing massive improvements under Gracia, and I think we know now going into games, because I even tweeted out when we were losing 1-0. I was just laughing at one point during the watch along because I was saying, I'm enjoying watching my football team again. It's been 18 months of absolute
proper football.
Yeah, we were actually competitive, and we were trying to play football. And I think we have seen an improvement under Gracia. Does anyone sort of disagree with that? Was it the same as Jesse?
It's worth noting the defensive partnerships we've had in those 2 games as well. You know. You know, we've had arguably a makeshift defence yesterday with players playing out of position, not out. You know, Warber, who's been our best centre back, and we still only conceded really those two chances all game that they managed to tuck away. So yeah, look, we've all seen improvements. I mean, if you can't be happy with the changes since we've changed manager, then I think you're probably only going to be looking one way all the time.
You're American.
Yeah, and either
about midfield.
Yeah, either an American or a pessimist. But yeah, it's clear as daylight that we are making improvements, and we are sort of moving in the right direction. I think my biggest concern and my biggest worry is that even under towards the end of Jesse Marsh, we were playing good football. We were better than most of the teams, but we still weren't scoring goals and winning games, which goes back to the confidence thing for me. And I just wanted to, just something that came up when I know we were talking about Rutter earlier. I don't want to go back too far, but I think the biggest difficulty we've got with him and his talent is I don't think his best position is playing up top on his own. I think he's better with somebody at the side of him, and I think the goals will come off the back of that if we were to sort of play potentially Bamford and Rutter. But yeah, absolutely improvement, especially more so defensively than attacking. I still think they look a little bit clueless sometimes when we get the ball in the second in sort of the final third. Yeah, but hopefully that'll come.
I think, do you know what? You've hit the nail for me on the head as well. And do you know what I like, right? And this is what I will say. There will be more to come from Gracia. Gracia's first press conference as manager, he basically said, We're going to do this in little increment steps. And the first thing we need to do is make sure Leeds United stop conceding goals, because we are the third worst team in the Premier League. This is what he said. I think we are the third worst team in the Premier League. So he was aware straight away of what the main issue is. Since then, in 2 weeks, we've conceded the lowest XG in them 2 games than we have all season. I've just shared that graphic with you. So he's obviously improved that. So what's next? Hopefully it'll be what you've just mentioned, Luke, having a bit more up here when we're in them, dangerous positions, not shit in the bed, because that's what I think happens. We get to the final third and go, and then we just
that's what it looks like.
That's what it does. Yeah. There's no sort of composure. And even when there is from McKennie on the edge of the box, he then fluffs the pass into some of it. But that will come. That will come. And I'm really, really infused with the start that Javi Gracia has made. I just want to shout out Theo as well, who's just become a member of the Just Joe football show.
Got your own channel.
Of my own channel. Yeah, sorry. Just Joe FC. Big up, Theo. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Things are improving, Max. Are you enthused? I know you're a bit more of a tactical man than myself. Are you seeing tactical improvements?
I think you hit the nail on the head. The improvements first and foremost were defensively, and you can see how we're now sitting when we go defensive, we sit into a traditional 4-4-2 almost, and we just slide across from side to side. I know in the Southampton game, I had some guys screaming from behind me saying, press, run, press, to press their centre-backs, but that's not what we're doing anymore. We're sitting in and we move from side to side, and waiting is a mid-block where we try and win the ball when it gets into midfield, and that's when we get triggered to press. But it makes it easier for us to maintain shape. And that's one of the biggest things that we've struggled with. And now that we can maintain shape a little bit more, you've seen already a massive uptick in the performance of somebody like Junior Firpo. He's had 1 game, and then this game as well. I think he didn't do anything wrong.
No, he was good. He was good.
Without being unbelievable, he didn't do anything wrong. He was decent. He was solid. And that is not something we could have said about Junior Firpo 6 months ago, that he's solid at any point. And so we're now sitting in and able to move from side to side to stop teams trying to play through us and break us down. And like Joe showed with the XG thing, it's just not giving away as many chances. And like you say, Joe, he's only had a few days. He's only had a few games, and he's going to start working on attacking patterns of play because at the moment he's not had time to do that. And you've got to think that a manager like him has more ideas, like what Bielsa did, where it's not just, right, go to goal as fast as possible, which is what Marsh said. And I genuinely don't think there was much more to it. Whereas under Bielsa, we know that he was actually saying to Jack Harrison, if you get the ball in this position, this is the part of the box that you need to cross to. If you get the ball in this position, this is the part of the box that you need to cross to. Jack Harrison said that himself a few weeks ago in an interview. And so
whereas Jesse said, when you get the ball, just fucking kick it.
Yeah, he said get the ball direct to goal as fast as possible, and I don't think he said much more than that. So you're not far off.
Just don't kick it out wide. Make sure you kick it hard into the center.
Down the middle, like a pinball machine.
And so he's now going to implement some passing patterns, and where you've already seen the fact that Firpo was overlapping Nonto at the weekend and crossing the ball into the box. There are ideas forming there already of how to break teams down. Sorry.
Firpo's absolutely loving this.
And he said it in his interview as well, didn't he? He said, it feels more solid. We're playing with more width. I know what I'm doing. And basically, it was basically saying, I didn't under Marsh. But
you could argue, though, as well. And I just do want to put, because everyone knows I love Bielsa. But even under Bielsa, he was poor because Bielsa, I guess, played into his weaknesses because one-on-one defending man marking was not strong.
It was still, Bielsa still had it so that when we were man marking, we were following people into the opposition half, and it was leaving massive holes in behind us, and Firpo was left exposed a lot of the time, and he was having to one-on-one defend, like you say. But just having that little bit of structure and sitting back a little bit, you may be seeing him getting back to his best, what he was like at Real Betis. But
is Woba back on this weekend on Saturday.
I think he was rested. Last night.
Yeah.
It might have been something to do with his shoulder as well. Do you remember when he went down holding his shoulder?
Yeah.
I think he was trying to. Which game was that in? Because he went off at half time, didn't he?
I thought it was Southampton when he was doing this, when he trying to pop it in. No?
He injured it against Scum, didn't he, at home? Scum at home, and then
because I was there as well. I was thinking it was one that I was there at.
And then he went down a little bit dodgy against Southampton as well, but continued, came back on, didn't he? He was
we weren't expecting him to start against Southampton, were we? And then he started, and then
solid man. He's solid.
What a player.
Yeah.
He improves everybody around him, which is the sign of a great defender, is that you put him in there. Suddenly, Robin Koch is putting in much better performances. Suddenly, Junior Firpo's putting in much better performances. You add that to the fact that Gracia has come in and organised them a lot better. We're now, like you saw from that graphic, we've conceded 2 goals in 2 games. But when you actually look at it, those goals were absolute worldies from distance.
And just the mad thing is as well, you know me, I mean, you'll have seen me getting stick on social media over this Bielsa thing. I've not even actually seen it, thankfully, but I've been getting battered. But fuck the haters. I'm very sentimental, I'm very emotional, I'm that kind of fan, that's fine, but I was very sentimental when it came to the defenders at Leeds and Cooper and Alien and Click, etc. And I wouldn't have a bad word said about him. But seeing Voba now come in, I realise I can look at it objectively and go, oh yeah, they're nowhere close to him actually. Because I was ribbing Koch, and Koch's improved, and like you've mentioned, Firpo's improved. I mean, Luke Aylin's always been great, but I just think there's sort of no way back for Cooper. I don't think we'll see an extension. I don't either, because I think Strauch's now the understudy to Voba. I don't think Cooper is. So
I think
they just look more dependable, don't they? They just look more solid, and they know what they look like. They know what they're doing. So, like you say, sort of now it's kind of time to sort of move that up the pitch and sort the rest out.
Yeah, for sure.
I think one thing, just for me on Cooper, I think one thing we've got to be very careful of is losing that leadership group, and not even the group, but
not the group. Don't call it. That's not allowed on here.
but every no matter what level of sport you're playing, if it's a team sport, you've got an older head, you've got an older group of people that you as a younger member of that team, you look up to, and you look up and you ask them to be, they'll stand up and be counted. They'll put the dirty challenges and they'll do the nitty gritty. They'll be, they'll do the hard, horrible work for you, and it sort of almost reflects on what you're going to learn from that person. You don't often learn how to tackle from that person. You learn how to be a little bit dirtier and understand how to play the game at a certain level, or whatever level that may be. I just think obviously when we lost Pablo and Alioski, Berra, and all those at a similar time, they were part of that senior group of players that were important, and we almost dropped off as soon as they all left at the same time. The level was dropped.
I just want to because this is such a myth. This is such a myth that Cooper's not a good leader. You speak to any player, you see any interview by any player, and they speak about who they go to, etc. Liam Cooper is that man. Please see, I was just saying I was over Cooper, and then I'm seeing all these negative comments, and I feel like I have to get back him up again. But yeah, to say he's not a leader is just a fallacy. Genuinely, it is. It's so untrue.
The thing is,
he's not a great footballer.
Captain.
No, that's what I mean. It doesn't make him not a great leader.
Club, would he?
No, exactly, bro. And this is the thing as well. Let me just say, every manager, even shit ones that we've had, all made Liam Cooper captain. That's not by chance. There's a reason why. Bielsa, Jesse, Gary Monk, any manager that came through all had Liam Cooper as the club captain. There is a reason for that. So let's not do that. Let's not do that.
So Woba is a natural successor to that, do you reckon?
I'd say so.
Yeah, I think while Luke Aylin's here, he'll be, but he's just had an extension. Unless we get a right back in the summer, but you're looking at either Voba or Adams, aren't you? For me, I think that's where we would go to next. But let's look ahead for the last 15 minutes. Let's look ahead to Chelsea. Before we do, quick status update. Kate, how many subscribers are you on?
961. I need 39.
39. There's 440 people. 39 people go on
You
over.
just need
and
Joe's
subscribe.
age, and then you're there.
Yeah. Don't do that. Someone did say to me today in my new job, right? This person, 39, they went, "Oh, no, I'm not the oldest in the training group. Joe is." I went, "How old is she?" She went, 39. I said, "Are you taking the piss? I'm just 35, you cheeky." Oh, I thought you were older than me. What, 40? Give over.
Joe, I've had that since I was 16.
Love it. Luke, can we win away? I think we can win away at Stamford Bridge. You know, they're terrible, man.
Yeah, there's no better time to play them, is there, other than when we played them earlier in the season. So look, I think we other than the first 15-20 minutes in the home fixture, we outplayed them for probably 70-75 minutes of that game at home. It's a different kettle of fish down there at Stamford Bridge. I understand that. It's not an easy place to go. It's quite intimidating, and but I feel dependent on how we line up, that we can go there at the very least, come away with a point.
Yeah, at least a point. I'd be genuinely. It sounds mad, but the form that they're in, Max, I'll be disappointed if we don't get at least a point.
Yeah, and I think they've also got a similar problem to us in that they can't score a goal even when I think somebody put it in the chat before, actually. So shout out to whoever it was. They scored 6 goals since November in the league.
That's mad, isn't it?
And I think they've got a similar problem to us, because I know when they played against Southampton, they absolutely dominated and had the chances to win the game, but didn't take them, and Southampton did, which shows how bad Chelsea must have been at finishing in that game. And the way we've been playing defensively, I can see us keeping them out. It's probably a dangerous
whether
thing
we
for
can
me
get
to
them
say.
in.
And so you might be looking at a hard-fought 0-0, but to be honest, even with them playing this badly, I think I'd still take a draw, because it's away at 100%. Stamford Bridge in London against Chelsea, and although they've been terrible, they've still got a bloody £70 billion squad. So
and a manager under pressure, big style.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
and also somebody made the point the other day, that the crowd at Stamford Bridge, if Leeds play the game of frustrating them for longer and longer and longer so that they haven't scored a goal, the crowd are going to really turn on Potter, on the players.
They already have, bro. They want Potter out. Like,
that's what I mean. But you know, in Elland Road, when it gets really toxic, it's horrible, and the players are never going to play well under that atmosphere. I feel like if we frustrate them, we could be seeing that happen, and that would be a great chance for us to win. And you'd probably expect Potter to be sacked if we win.
Yeah. I think he gets I think he might get the Champions League game, and if they don't progress that, I think they'll give him the boot. They're losing.
And then over to Elland Road in.
Oh well, the Champions League comes after us, doesn't it? So thankfully.
No, I mean,
Potter come to
yeah.
Going to be assistant to Gracia if he wants.
No, yeah. I'm all on Gracia now, man.
We're on the Gracia train.
I've never seen Graham Potter looking so stressed in my life, because he's really
aged about 10 years.
You what? Sorry,
he's aged about 10 years. You see the side by side.
Yeah, sure. It's mad. You're just looking as well. Hot stat. I'm just looking at some of the Chelsea stuff. There hasn't been a single goal scored in the opening 15 minutes at Stamford Bridge this season. So I don't know if that's a good thing for us or a bad thing for us. Do you know what I mean? Like, I
think we're going to buck all of the trends, aren't we? Exactly. We're going to lose 7-0. They're going to score more goals than they have since November. Everything's going to go wrong.
Don't say that.
We're tempting fate.
I think we're going to win the game. Genuinely, I think we're going to win the game. I think we're going to do the double over Chelsea. Someone needs to check.
Did you think we were going to win last night, Joe?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
I thought we'd draw and go to extra time, but we did enough to. But yeah.
But those goals that they played were just incredible, weren't they? Whoever they were playing against, those goals would have been amazing. So
to get 2 in one game as well, like you've got to feel a little bit hard done by. And I don't know what I haven't watched the highlights back properly. I've just seen the odd bits and pieces here. But did the highlights sort of did they follow that trend? Did we look as good as we felt we looked in comparison?
Bro, I've said on, and everyone were going, "Nah, you don't know what." No, I genuinely was like, I'm actually chilled that we got beat 2-0. Like
we were still relatively frail to the
Five
crossfield ball, though, to their left and our right. We kept
Harry
they were
Wilson got in
outnumbered
a
couple
lot,
of times. Yeah,
Harry Wilson did get in a lot,
but they didn't create anything on the back of it from memory, other than cutting in and scoring twice, which sounds quite daft. But yeah, look, it's
they didn't.
yeah,
like we our defense was amazing last night.
Yeah.
We kept them out. It was just those two kind of freak goals, which were, would have caught anybody off guard, I reckon.
Yeah. I bet it'll have been years since we'll have done a double over Chelsea, won it in the same season. So it'd be nice. It'd be nice.
Especially on home ground. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, it will be. It will be good. Fingers crossed we can do it. I think we win the game. We're going to win the game 1-0, I think we're going to win the game 1-0.
1-0 is actually a possible scoreline now as well for us. When it just wasn't before, was it? You just never would predict that.
But I'd take 0-0 as well, by the way.
You just got to score a goal, that's all.
Yeah, actually, before I want to do, Michael Pollard's mentioned this, and someone else mentioned it earlier on that I did start, and I forgot to bring up about maybe using Robert. For me, Meslier cannot do nothing against either of them goals. I don't understand why people were questioning him. That's just my opinion. Does anyone disagree? No.
You were saying yesterday, Joe, weren't you, that he's been coached to come out sort of that on his line.
Yeah. Well, we
so
see it in the first game
against
Southampton. Yeah, against Southampton. I don't know if you agree, Max. He was seen a lot more outside of his box with the centre backs wider. You know what I mean? So that we can get up the field more.
There was a time last night as well where he's there as well to sweep up, and there was a time last night where a ball came through. You thought, "Oh my god, they're going to be in here." Mellier's there to clear it, and you're like, "Oh, that's okay."
And because when that happened, bro, I said those that were saying Mellier's too far off his line, had he have not been off his line at that point, they'd have gone, "Why is he staying on his line?" Do you know what I mean? Can't have it both ways.
Yeah, I don't think you can't take anything away from either of those goals. I don't think there's a keeper in the world that would have saved both of those. No. It may be one of them, positioning slightly, maybe could be questioned for the second. But you're talking half a yard,
Yeah, the first one, he was slightly to the right of his goal, to the left, sort of as we would look at it. But you're not expecting the Palhinha took the shot so quickly. He nicked the ball when no one was expecting him to, because Adams should never have played that pass. He should have just gone forward or passed it down the line or anything. Just don't pass into the center where someone can take the ball and have a shot. Yeah. And he took one touch and then banged it in the top corner. So Mellier's not got time to react to that, and he was unsighted. I think Meslier gets criticised a little bit unfairly sometimes, but the amount of shots he faces.
Yeah. If it's not Meslier, it's somebody else. Do you know? There's always something. Or
we love a scapegoat, don't we?
Yeah, and ultimately the moment.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the comments saying that Marsh asked him to play as a quarterback.
yeah. Well,
wouldn't surprise me.
No. There was a few times actually where he came out under Marsh and he was like, "Whoa, what's he going?" But yeah, listen, Meslier not at fault. Stop throwing shade at him. I know he's had a few poor games, but he's not at fault for either of them. They were worldies. Go on, Kate.
No, I was just going to say, and when you think of what he's done for the previously in the season, he's done really well. So
No, I agree. I think he's not had. Yeah, he's had a poor few weeks against Man United, but I'm not starting Rob Blaze by any stretch of the imagination, man. Don't be even thinking about that, folks. But listen, football is about opinions, I guess.
I thought that about Adams as well. He didn't look himself last night, did he?
No. He definitely didn't. He was
due one, wasn't he? He's played so well that he was due a bad one.
Yeah. But again, and this is why we're talking about scapegoats, and not a lot of people rate Rocker, and somehow Rocker seemed to get more of the blame than Adams yesterday for that goal. And I'm like, no, man, it was all on Adams. But I get it. Everyone loves Adams, but not so much Rocker. I mean,
a lot of people give Rocker stick, don't they?
Yeah, they don't rate him. I don't understand it, bro. Do not get it.
It's mad how people can watch the same game of football and get a completely different opinion from it. It's like, how can it be that different? Where
there was one moment, Max, in the first half, right? Rocker picked up the ball and straight, bam, threaded ball through to Adams, who then knocked it onto McKennie, and I'm going, that's what Rocker gives you. That's what Rocker gives you, you know? But people don't see that, do you know what I mean? It's like, because his pass is the pass before the final pass, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? And people forget that he did that. You know, that's what I find. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in there for like we said before, he knows that what his strengths are, and he knows that his strengths aren't absolutely pinging a long ball, but he can. So are we talking about Rocker or Adams?
Not Rocker, yeah.
Oh, Rocker. Yeah. I was thinking about Adams plays the ball to Rocker to give him that opportunity to then spread the ball out, but he sees things that other players don't, and that's the kind of midfielder you want in there. Somebody with that distribution where you see him look up and he goes, okay, well, if it was Adams in that position, he'd look up and say, right, well, there's a player out on the right wing, but I'm not going to be able to get that ball to him perfectly. Rocker will just ping it right over the head of the defender.
And he did want to wheel in, bro. He did want to wheel in. That dropped right on his nut.
Yeah, and even though sometimes you see in the Premier League, when someone plays a long ball over the opposite side, like a diagonal ball, a lot of the time defenders leave it, don't they? And they wait for the player to touch it down rather than heading it out for a throw in. I don't know why they do that, because they could easily win that header. But that time it was actually going to be a 50-50 between the two players, and Ayling obviously just up and bang, won the header straight to another player's feet. And it's having that connection to know where Ayling's going to be overlapping, and that's something we kind of missed as well, where we were talking about the other week before Click left, when Click and Ayling were playing together. They knew where each other were going to be, overlapping and stuff, and the rest of the players didn't really have that under Marsh. They didn't really, they looked up and everything was different every time because it was just chaos. Hopefully we start to have some sort of scripted patterns, as Scott Parker said about Bielsa ball. The scripted patterns of play. You know where somebody's going to be, so you can play that pass to them. And hopefully they start to link up more with those passes from Rocker. But I can't see how people don't rate him.
Yeah, no, neither can I. Just quick score update. Grimsby are beating Southampton in the cup. Mad. No scores in the Premier League though as of yet. Leeds still in 17th, but no scores yet. Everton on same points as us, but obviously Arsenal will beat them at home, I'm sure.
Hopefully.
They lost away, didn't they?
Yeah, but they'll beat them at home. They're good at the Emirates. Anyway, we will leave it there because we have gone just short of an hour, and I know people have got things to do. Make sure you check out Kate at Leeds Birds Rants. Hopefully she's hit that 1,000.
974 at the moment, Joe.
974.
26.
Right, 26, man. We're getting closer. The link's in the description. People will watch this back, Kate, and they'll subscribe. So you'll hit it. Luke, what's happening on Ought to Know Better at 8:30? Let the people know.
Busy one tonight. We've got the Berardi and Coke built in. The Berardi and Coke's the aftermatch review. So we built that into the normal stuff tonight. Just, I think 3 or 4 of us on tonight, just talking knackers really about Leeds and just enjoying ourselves. You know, we don't take it too seriously. Come and have a listen. We're on at 8:30 anyway. Yeah, just come and get chatting. There's quite a nice little community in there now. That coming out, all chat with each other and that. So yeah, it's a bit of a laugh. Nothing too serious.
No, agreed. I love it. I love when you get that community, you know. Every time I drop in, I've got the same heads in the comments early doors. I'm like, wee. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's nice. And Max.
And the guy that always starts vacuuming live chat carpet every single time we're about to end.
Make sure you check out Max at Leeds lately as well. He's not allowed to promote his watch-alongs.
That's literally what I was going to say. I can't say that.
But I actually dropped in on yours yesterday whilst I was live.
I was thinking, are you not live? Started commenting in my chat. I'm like, are you not live? What's going on?
Why are you copying me?
Yeah.
Good for tactics, though. I dropped in, Max, and learned quite a bit. So thanks for that.
Did you not learn watching Make It?
Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I mean his previous videos.
Yeah.
What I am thinking of, I'm going to start a new series though, where even if
don't tell him, he'll do it.
Basically, you know how Victor Orta supposedly has this list of players that he's looking at. I'm going to start doing some sort of scouting reports
Max's list.
Players who could, but that sounds a bit dodgy.
Sounds like it might be a Netflix documentary in a few years.
So some tactical analysis of players who I think would fit really well into Leeds United's team in the future, and then hopefully if one eventually actually signs for us, I can be like, called it. Views back on it.
I mean, I won't be doing anything like that.
I called the Tejon Buchanan links. You know, the guy from Club Bruges.
Canadian, very fast.
Whilst we were in the World Cup, I made a video about him saying how I thought he would do all right at Leeds, and then he's being linked more recently. So I'm like, Mystic Max.
Yeah,
not by Juan Martinez, was it?
No. That's what you could call it, Mystic Max's list. No,
not sure it's very clickable.
no, it's definitely not, is it? Right, we will.
Graphics will be interesting, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
graphics. Little crystal ball or something.
Yeah. See, Kate, you're showing your age there, because there'll be people in the chat thinking, "Who the feck's Mystic Meg? What's she on about?" They won't know about the lottery and that, back in the day. Definitely not. Max doesn't. Anyway, you know who Mystic Meg is.
I know the reference. I made that. Well, that was the reference that I was making, but I didn't
Do you
really
know who she is, though?
What it was.
She used to have a bit in the paper as well, telling you your horoscopes and
crystal ball.
The crystal ball and that thing over her head.
Yeah. The crystal ball was just the top of Luke's head. That's how he got his start.
Hang on, Joe's bald and all.
I know, yeah. I just had mine.
I know, but I gave Joe an old joke before, didn't I? So I thought I'd spread it out a bit.
Yeah, man.
Interesting.
Right, we'll leave it there then, folks. Thanks everyone for watching, and make sure you join us again soon. Guys. I'll be back tomorrow with the press conference reaction. I'll see you tomorrow evening. Peace out now, folks.